"Honey, look what your sister-in-law got for you." My sister-in-law, Monica, sat in the living room, waving me over. She had a gentle smile on her face. But I was terrified, goosebumps erupting all over my skin. A sudden shiver ran down my spine. Only then did it hit me. I had been reborn. Right then, my sister-in-law was sitting on the sofa. She reached into her bag. Then, she pulled out 2 identical white jade amulets. "Sweetie, I got these specially from the temple. And I had a master bless them. They're good luck charms. It's fate that we're both pregnant at the same time. So one charm for you, one for me. Wear it. It'll protect our babies and keep them safe." In my past life, Monica had given me this exact good luck charm. It was made of high-quality jade. Each one cost over $10,000. I was incredibly touched. I wore it around my neck every day. But I never imagined that this tiny little charm would end up taking my healthy baby girl from my womb. It led to my family's ruin. I suffered endlessly in the countryside. Eventually, I was nothing but skin and bones, eaten alive by a sow. I touched my belly. A cold dread made me gasp. When I married into the family, Monica had already been married in for 3 years. Since we didn't live together, we didn't see each other much. So our relationship was pretty peaceful. Then earlier this year, my husband Zach's older brother, Alex, got into a car accident. He ended up in a vegetative state. During that time, my sister-in-law cried every day. I felt sorry for her. And since we were family, I lent her $300,000. I didn't even ask her to sign an IOU. I never would have guessed. A month later, Monica and I both found out we were pregnant. That made me feel even more sorry for her. I thought, a pregnant woman, still having to take care of her husband in a vegetative state every day. Life must be so hard. So, I often bought her supplements. The delicacies my parents sent me. I'd always share a portion with my sister-in-law. I never would have guessed. This woman I helped and cared for so much was actually plotting to harm me in my past life. Monica gave me the good luck charm, and I was so touched I wore it around my neck every day. But it wasn't long before my body started having problems. My appetite became enormous. Sure, pregnant women can eat a lot, but I could practically eat a whole cow at every meal. My body inflated like a balloon. In just 2 or 3 months, my weight ballooned to over 200 pounds. At the same time, horrible marks appeared on my belly. The lines were dark purple and black. It was like my skin was literally tearing open from the fat. I could eat 20-something ears of corn in one sitting and still feel starved. I would also bleed from my body. Eventually, my body started secreting a sticky fluid. Every time I went to the bathroom, a lot of foul-smelling yellow pus would come out. By the time I was about to give birth, my weight had shot up to nearly 260 pounds. I'm short, only about 5'1". It took 3 strong male doctors working together just to lift me onto the hospital bed. The other patients in the hospital mocked me. They said I was a reincarnated pig demon. They also said they'd never seen such a fat woman give birth. They figured if they did a C-section, one cut wouldn't even draw blood. Just fat would pour out. My husband was disgusted with me too. He said I was like a sow, some kind of pig spirit reincarnated. He said I was so fat I didn't look human, more like an elephant from the zoo. In contrast, my sister-in-law, Monica, had managed her weight perfectly since the start of her pregnancy. She only gained about 15 pounds throughout her entire pregnancy. It all went to her belly. She remained slender. Her complexion was rosy. She looked like she'd rejuvenated by more than 10 years. Her face was as smooth and tender as a freshly peeled boiled egg. Back then, Monica was even live streaming online. Because she was pregnant and beautiful, she attracted a bunch of fans. Her fans even called her the most beautiful pregnant woman. When it was time to give birth, Monica and I went into labor at almost the exact same time. Monica had a smooth delivery. She gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Over 6.5 pounds. A cute little mouth, double eyelids. Extremely healthy. But I gave birth to a baby with no arms, 3 legs, weighing 20 pounds with Down syndrome. Because the baby was so big, I tried natural birth first, then had to switch to a C-section. It took a whole 10+ hours. The moment the baby was out, I passed out. When I woke up, the doctor told me my son's vital signs were all abnormal. He had been sent to the emergency room for intensive care. The doctor said it was unlikely the child would survive. Even with the best treatment, the medical bills would probably be over $1 million. I was heartbroken. He was my own flesh and blood, after all. Whether he was deformed or had Down syndrome, I begged the doctors to do everything they could. But I never, ever imagined my sister-in-law would whisper in my mother-in-law's ear, "Mom, Zoe gave birth to such a monster. If our relatives find out later, it'll be so embarrassing. Besides, that child is just a money pit. Every day in the ICU costs tens of thousands. Even if Zach is capable, he can't sustain that kind of expense." My mother-in-law had always been stingy. When she heard that treating the child would cost so much money, she secretly snuck into the hospital, took my baby, and suffocated him to death. After the child died, Zach also asked for a divorce. He said I was as fat as an old sow. He had no interest in me at all. He said I must have hidden a medical condition to have given birth to a deformed child. He forced me to leave with nothing. I refused. So Zach tricked me into going to the countryside. Then he chained me up in a pig pen with an iron chain. There was no food or water in the pig pen. I could only fight with the pigs for their slop. Zach was afraid I'd escape, so he used a knife to sever the tendons in my hands and feet. I lay on the ground, covered in blood, unable to move. Pigs are omnivores. In the end, I was eaten alive by the sows in the pig pen. After I died, my hatred was unquenchable. My soul became a lonely, wandering ghost, lingering around Zach every day. I watched with my own eyes as my mother cried herself blind over my disappearance. My father, thinking I was missing, drove to the police station to report it. But on the way to the police station, my father's car was rear-ended by a large truck. He died instantly. Then Zach sent my mother to a mental hospital. He seized my family's assets. And he actually got together with Monica. Only then did I understand. This was all Zach and Monica's doing. They had been together for a long time. The child in Monica's belly was even my husband Zach's. And Monica's family had a genetic disease. There had been 3 cases of Down syndrome in her family. So Monica went for a checkup as soon as she found out she was pregnant. She discovered the problem with her fetus. That's why she got that good luck charm to swap out my healthy daughter in my womb. After that, Monica and Zach took over my property. They took over my father's business. The two of them lived extravagantly. Monica even became a major influencer. But my entire family ended up dying horrible deaths. Thinking about the tragic fate of my past life, I nearly ground my teeth to dust from hatred. Seeing Monica in front of me now, I just wanted to rush forward and tear her to pieces. I thought it must be that even heaven pitied me. That's why I was reborn, so I could personally deal with Monica and Zach, this pair of scumbags. As I was thinking this, Monica noticed my expression was a bit off. She waved her hand in front of my eyes. "Sweetie, what are you thinking about?" Then she pretended to be aggrieved and said, "Sweetie, I know your family is well off. You probably think the good luck charm your sister-in-law got you is too cheap. But sister-in-law, this is all I can afford. $30,000 is everything I have. If you don't like it, just pretend I never said anything." As Monica spoke, she even squeezed out a few fake tears. Then she turned her head and secretly gave my husband a look. Zach immediately understood. He chimed in from the side, "Zoe, why are you acting all high and mighty in front of your sister-in-law? She's been so good to you, buying you such an expensive gift. Don't be ungrateful." As Zach spoke, he snatched the good luck charm from Monica's hand. Then he shoved it into mine. "From now on, you wear this every day. Don't you dare disrespect your sister-in-law's kindness. Also, transfer $100,000 to your sister-in-law later. She's pregnant too, and she's still thinking of you. Don't be so stingy. It makes you look uncultured." Zach and Monica's little act was really something. One playing good cop, the other bad cop. They were practically Oscar-worthy. In my last life, I was such an idiot. I even gave Monica $100,000. Reborn this time. Trying to get benefits from me? Dream on. At this moment, I curved my lips into a slight smile. Honey, what are you talking about? How could I possibly dislike such a precious jade pendant? I love it. I can't get enough of it. I added, besides, how could $100,000 for sister-in-law be enough? Big brother is in a vegetative state now. There are many expenses. Sister-in-law isn't working, and she's heavily pregnant. I think we should transfer at least $200,000 to her. That should cover her nutritional needs during pregnancy. Hearing my words, Zach and Monica exchanged a smug glance. He calmly replied, "It's good that you understand." But then I pretended to be troubled and said, "Honey, it's just that my bank card has been frozen recently. How about you transfer the $200,000 to sister-in-law first? I'll pay you back once my card is unfrozen, okay?" What? Your bank card is frozen? Zach was instantly surprised. He clearly didn't believe me. I explained smoothly. Actually, it's just a small issue with my dad's company finances. But it's nothing major. My dad has already sorted it out. It'll be back to normal soon. I added, if you don't believe me, you can call my dad and ask. Zach was still somewhat intimidated by my father. After all, he currently worked at a company owned by one of my dad's friends. He had already made it to a manager position, but with just one word from my dad, his manager title wouldn't be worth a damn. Zach nodded. Fine, just remember to pay me back. As Zach spoke, he reluctantly transferred $200,000 to Monica. Then, the two of them said they were going to the hospital to see Zach's older brother. I knew visiting his brother was a lie. This despicable pair was really going out for a tryst. I didn't expose them. I just nodded lightly. After Zach and Monica left, I immediately picked up that good luck charm. Then I video called an old classmate of mine. One of my college classmates. His family sold jade, and they also did carving. I sent him a video and asked him, how long would it take to custom make an identical jade pendant? And how much would it cost? My old classmate glanced at it and told me, this wasn't white jade at all. It was just a piece of white glazed stone. And it was just a plain pendant. No carving skills involved. He said he could get it done for me in half a day. As for the price, just give him $500 for the material cost. I immediately transferred $500. That evening, I went to my old classmate's jade jewelry store. I picked up the fake good luck charm and put it around my neck. As for the real one, when I walked to the entrance of my old classmate's shop, I happened to see a large yellow dog tied up at his doorstep. The yellow dog was small, but its belly was round and full. What's more, such a small dog was tied with a very thick iron chain. The other end of the chain was tied to a utility pole. It looked a bit pitiful. I turned and went inside, asking my old classmate, hey, did that yellow dog break some heavenly law? Why is it tied up with such a thick chain? My old classmate explained, no, that's a mad dog. It attacks people on sight. It's also got a host of infectious diseases, parvo mange. My dad originally said he was going to put this mad dog down, but she's pregnant. I felt sorry for the little thing, so I tied it to the utility pole. We'll deal with it after she gives birth. Maybe she'll have some healthy puppies. Seeing this, I took out the good luck charm Monica had given me. Then I went up to the mad dog and hung this jade charm around the dog's neck. Maybe I was doing this mad dog wrong, but I had no choice. Reborn in this life, I had to have my revenge. I transferred another $1,000 to my old classmate, telling him to buy the dog more bones and to take good care of her before she gave birth. When I got home, unexpectedly, Zach and Monica were back too. They were sitting on the living room sofa. Zach was personally peeling grapes and feeding them to Monica. Their bodies were very close, knees touching knees, shoulders against shoulders. Hearing me enter, Zach jumped up in fright. He desperately tried to explain, Monica and I went to the hospital to see Alex. His condition is pretty good. On the way back, Monica was worried about you. She said you must have a poor appetite since you're pregnant, so she bought you some grapes. Come try them. Oh, okay, I smiled faintly. Then I walked to the coffee table. I deliberately bent down to get the grapes, revealing the pure white good luck charm hanging around my neck. When Monica saw it, she nodded happily. She said, "That's right, sweetie. I specially got this good luck charm. We sisters-in-law. One for each of us. Wear it close to your body every day. It can bring blessings for our children." Zach also acted very pleased. "Yes. This charm is a token of your sister-in-law's kindness. You wear it every day from now on. Absolutely don't take it off." Hearing this, I smiled faintly. Then I picked up the bowl of grapes and handed it to Zach. "Honey, I want you to feed me personally." I deliberately drew out my words, my tone like I was pouting. Seeing this, Monica's face was very unnatural, but given her status, she couldn't show anything. At this moment, Monica pursed her lips, her expression incredibly sour. In my past life, I was truly stupid. Monica's possessiveness towards Zach was so strong, and I hadn't noticed it at all. Suddenly, Monica, sitting on the sofa, cried out for no reason. "Ouch, my stomach hurts so much. I feel so awful." At first, Zach thought Monica was just jealous. He secretly glared at Monica, afraid I would notice something. But after a little while, Monica's face grew paler and paler, and a cold sweat broke out on her forehead. She clutched her lower abdomen, her whole body trembling. "It really hurts. My stomach. My stomach." It seemed the good luck charm was working. That mad dog was tied to the utility pole outside the shop. It barked madly at passers-by. My old classmate told me there were many children in the residential buildings near his store. These children often threw stones at the dog. Plus, that mother dog was covered in diseases, mange parvo skin conditions. Monica was in for a world of hurt this lifetime. Zach saw that Monica wasn't faking it. He anxiously knocked the grapes to the floor. He picked Monica up in his arms and rushed into the bedroom. "Monica, are you okay?" This pair of dogs was really putting on a show of deep affection. I slowly sat down on the sofa, looking at the scattered grapes on the floor, and viciously stomped on them a few times. After they went into the room, I could vaguely hear Monica's voice coming from the bedroom. "Zach, could there be something wrong with the baby? Don't worry. I specially got that good luck charm. It definitely won't be a problem. You're further along in your pregnancy now. Maybe the baby is just kicking you." Their voices were very low, but I managed to hear some important information. So it was Zach who got that child-swapping charm. This gold-digging schemer. I really underestimated him in my past life. About a few hours later, Monica felt a bit better and left my house. Zach then used the excuse of having to work overtime at the company and left shortly after Monica. With both of them gone, my opportunity had come. I immediately got up, drove to the mall, and in the electronics section, bought several hidden cameras. Back home, I installed the hidden cameras in every corner of the rooms. Then I called my mom, asking her to come pick me up and take me home. I often went back to my parents' place anyway. As an only child, my parents doted on me. I made an excuse that Zach was always working overtime, too busy with work. Now that I was pregnant, Zach couldn't take care of me. My mom immediately had the housekeeper prepare a room, and specially went to buy me seafood. Bird's nest and pepper were bought in large quantities, and she made all sorts of soups for me every day to nourish my body. After returning to my parents' home, Zach naturally wasn't in a hurry for me to come back. After all, he finally had time to be intimate with his dear sister-in-law. Every day, I checked the surveillance footage from home on my phone. For the first few days, Zach didn't do much. But just after a week, Zach couldn't hold back anymore. The small, rundown house Monica lived in was too cold and needed a heated bed. The conditions were truly awful. Zach couldn't wait to move Monica into my house. The two of them made love on my marital bed, oblivious to the world, living it up. I saved all this surveillance footage. Then I continued to rest and recuperate at my parents' house. About 3 months later, Monica's health deteriorated rapidly. She was almost exactly like I had been in my past life, always hungry, constantly eating. In just 3 months, Monica gained a huge amount of weight. Every day, she would go into the kitchen and stew a large pot of fatty meat for herself. She also had to drink bone broth daily. By now Monica probably weighed around 170 or 80 pounds. She was already short, and her face was round and fat, with a double chin. When she undressed to take a bath, I saw her belly was as big as a human skin drum, and many dark patterns had appeared on her belly, including her arms and thighs, all covered with those patterns. Those patterns were dense and numerous, like countless small snakes, coiling around Monica's body. Even Zach's gaze towards Monica had changed from initial passion to increasing disinterest. Although the two of them were still intimate every night, Zach had gone from being full of vigor to being extremely perfunctory. At night, I had just finished the pepper soup my mom brought to my room. Lying in bed, I was scrolling through the home surveillance on my phone. I saw Monica, with great enthusiasm, push Zach onto the bed. But Zach lay on his side, making excuses that he was too tired from work and wanted to rest. Monica pouted complainingly. I've seen through you men. A wife is not as good as a concubine. A concubine is not as good as a secret lover. And a secret lover is not as good as one you can't have. I don't know who it was that used to cling to me every day, to be with me. You even harmed your own brother. Now my husband is in a vegetative state, and you're keeping your pants on tight. Anyway, I don't care. If you don't serve me well, I'll spill the beans about your brother's car accident. Let's see if your parents will forgive you. I never would have imagined. Even Zach's brother's car accident was orchestrated by Zach himself. My heart skipped a beat. I stared intently at the phone screen. Hearing Monica's threat, Zach hugged her and comforted her for a while. Suddenly, Zach covered his nose with his hand. Monica, have you not been showering lately? Why do you smell so bad? I was actually getting in the mood just now, but this smell of yours is really killing it for me. Through the phone screen, I couldn't smell Monica, but I could roughly guess. How good could the smell of a female dog be? It was probably the smell of pus from her body. Monica had gained a lot of weight, and even walking was a bit difficult for her. She reluctantly went to the bathroom and took another shower, as if determined to conquer Zach tonight. After Monica finished her shower, Zach regained some enthusiasm. The two continued their intimate exchange on the bed. Suddenly, right in the middle of it, Zach shouted, "Blood! Why is there so much blood?" Monica was bleeding from her lower body. Through the high-definition surveillance camera, I saw a lot of ugly, thick, dark blood on the bed, spreading all over the bedsheet. It was everywhere. Zach was scared too at that moment. He immediately called 911. About 10 odd minutes later, an ambulance stopped downstairs from my house. 3 paramedics carried a stretcher. It took them a lot of effort to finally lift Monica onto it. Zach told me about Monica's hospitalization a week later. Apparently, Monica had a major hemorrhage. But the strangest thing was, after a thorough examination at the hospital, the baby in her belly was perfectly healthy. Not a single problem. It's just that according to the ultrasound, Monica was pregnant with quadruplets. The only issue with her was that she had some kind of growth on her body. According to the biopsy, Monica had dog mange. Although this was a bit strange, Monica was content as long as the babies in her belly were fine. She was also worried that taking medication during pregnancy would affect the health of her babies, so she stubbornly refused to take any medicine. After a few days of 4 fluids at the hospital, she packed her things and went home. After Monica returned home, I specifically asked my parents to accompany me on a visit to my in-laws to see Monica. After all, ever since my in-laws learned Monica was pregnant with quadruplets, she had become the great hero of the Zhang family. She was personally brought home by her in-laws and was being fed lavishly with meat and fish every day. My in-laws lived in a small, single-story house in the countryside. I asked my parents to go back with me, and I also brought 4 bodyguards. Entering my in-laws' small courtyard, I saw thick white smoke billowing from the chimney. The entire yard smelled of pork stewed with sauerkraut. Walking into the room, Monica was sitting cross-legged on the heated brick bed. She was holding a basin of large bones in her arms, gnawing on them with relish. On the small square table on the bed, there was also a large basin of boiled fatty pork slices, pure meat sausages, and sauerkraut stewed with blood sausage. By now, Monica's weight had exceeded 200 pounds. She was already short, covered in fat. Sitting on the bed, she looked like a wild boar spirit. My mother-in-law was still bustling around happily, saying she was going to make Monica lard mixed rice. My father-in-law sat in a rocking chair, smoking his pipe, a smile on his face as he praised Monica. Truly my good daughter-in-law. Eat more. Being able to eat is a blessing. Your body is precious. Quadruplets in one go. The future of our Zhang family all depends on you. Seeing me and my parents walk in, my in-law's expressions turned slightly displeased. My father-in-law had never liked me much, because after Zach and I got married, people in the village said Zach was a pretty boy, a kept man. My father-in-law felt it brought shame to the family name, so while he spent my money, he never gave me a pleasant look. As for my mother-in-law, she favored sons over daughters. All she wanted was a grandson. During the time she knew Monica and I were both pregnant, my mother-in-law would bring her homemade sauerkraut to my house every day. But my mother-in-law was a bad cook. Her sauerkraut had gone bad, it stank. I refused to eat it. My mother-in-law then said, sour for a boy, spicy for a girl. Since I wouldn't eat sour things, I must be carrying a money-losing girl. After that, my mother-in-law hardly paid any attention to me. I walked into the room, saw Monica sprawled out like a blob on the heated bed. I couldn't help but curve my lips into a slight smile. Sister-in-law, looks like your appetite has been good lately. I heard you were hospitalized a few days ago, so today I specially brought some supplements to help you recover. It had been 3 months since I last saw Monica. In these 3 months, she had practically doubled in size. Her skin was sallow and bad, and she reeked. But I, on the other hand, had a rosy complexion, and my figure was well maintained and curvaceous. After all, for the health of the baby in my belly, my mom had hired a nutritionist who made me a variety of nutritious meals every day. Now, at over 7 months pregnant, I had only gained about 15 pounds. My figure had become even more graceful than before pregnancy. Even my skin had become much smoother. Monica sat on the bed, her mouth greasy as she gnawed on fatty meat. Then she stared at me with jealous, vicious eyes. Well, sweetie, you certainly haven't suffered during your pregnancy, have you? Monica spoke with a sarcastic tone. Now that she was carrying quadruplets, she wasn't pretending anymore. Monica had already been to the hospital for a checkup. The baby in her belly was deformed, and her Down syndrome markers were extremely high. Now that the baby in her belly had become 4, Monica still thought her child swapping plan with me had succeeded. I smiled charmingly. What can I do? I just don't gain weight no matter how much I eat. Unlike you, sister-in-law, you're so blessed. This good fortune of yours is just impossible to hide. Just then, my mother-in-law came in carrying another large pot of lard mixed rice. Oh, Monica, eat more. The more you eat, the better my grandson will develop. As long as you give our family a big, healthy grandson, Mom will give you this house, this gold bracelet too. Whatever you want, Mom will give it to you. Unlike some people, so pretentious all the time. So what if her family is rich? If she can't produce a son, she'll end up having her family's wealth devoured sooner or later. I deliberately raised an eyebrow and looked at my mother-in-law. Mom, what do you mean by that? I'm the only child in my family. Are you saying Zach married me just to get his hands on my family's inheritance? My mother-in-law snorted coldly. I didn't say anything. Just then, my phone rang. I took out my phone and deliberately put it on speaker. Old classmate, what did you call me for? On the other end of the line, my classmate replied, it's like this, Zoe. That pendant you asked me to custom make last time. Although the style is simple, it's quite grand and substantial. Didn't you hang an identical one around a dog's neck? Recently, a few customers came to my shop, and they all liked that pendant. They want me to find the material and make a few identical ones. I wanted to ask you, do you mind if I mass-produce that pendant? Would it involve any copyright issues? I deliberately replied in an exaggerated way, of course I don't mind. It's just a small good luck charm. How could it involve any copyright? By the way, old classmate, that mad dog tied up at your doorstep. It should be giving birth soon, right? I hadn't even finished speaking when Monica, sitting on the bed, suddenly let out its own scream. She flailed her arms and legs, shouting at me, "What did you say?"
What pendant?
What dog? Suddenly, she finally reacted. Monica struggled to get up from the bed, rushed towards me, and started tearing at my clothes. Where's your pendant? Where's the pendant around your neck? By now, Monica was enormous, and her movements were exceptionally clumsy. I took a small step back, and Monica fell flat on the ground. I curved my lips into a smile. Sister-in-law, what pendant are you talking about? The blessed good luck charm you gave me? To be honest, I quite like that pendant. It's just that my classmate's family has a mad dog, also a female, and pregnant. I saw the mother dog wasn't doing too well, so I hung the pendant you gave me around the mad dog's neck. But don't worry, sister-in-law. I won't betray your good intentions. I even had an identical pendant custom made. I wear it every day. Never take it off. At this moment, Monica's eyes were wide and round. She screamed in terror, "Ah, a mother dog. My babies. Quadruplets." Monica clutched her belly, shouting desperately, "In-laws, call Zach. Quick, quick." Just then, a warm liquid flowed down from between Monica's legs. She was about to give birth. Prematurely. After all, cats gestate for 3 months, dogs for 4. I had recently contacted my old classmate, and he said their mad dog was due to give birth today too. The small, single-story house in the countryside was in complete chaos. My father-in-law and mother-in-law were calling 911 for an ambulance, and also calling Zach. Monica lay on the ground, screaming like a pig being slaughtered. The show was over. I clapped my hands and left with my parents and bodyguards. This old couple was really a pair of cowards. Seeing the bodyguards behind me, not only did they not resort to violence today, they didn't even dare to fart. Later I heard, Monica was in the hospital for a whole day and night giving birth to her quadruplets. She finally delivered 4 stillborn dog-like creatures. Those 4 babies. The heaviest didn't even weigh 2 pounds. They all had dog heads and human bodies. Their appearance bizarre. They were all stillborn when delivered. Not a single one alive. I also heard, before Monica was sent into the delivery room, she actually managed to get through to Zach on the phone. Zach went to a lot of trouble, and finally found my old classmate's shop. When he saw that mad dog, the mad dog had also just given birth. But the mad dog only had 1 pup. It was also a little monster. Although it had a dog's body, covered in fur, the puppy's face somehow looked very human, and it strongly resembled the face of someone with Down syndrome. When Zach saw that puppy, he was so enraged he stomped it to death with 1 kick, and threw it into the sewer. The mad dog kept running towards Zach, barking. Zach, furious, grabbed a stick, and was about to hit the mad dog on the head. But that mad dog was no pushover either. It opened its bloody maw and bit Zach's arm, leaving it gushing blood. It even tore off a piece of flesh. But that poor dog still died in the end. It wasn't beaten to death by Zach. Rather, the puppy it delivered was too large, and it bled uncontrollably. It whimpered and died less than 2 hours later. My old classmate had a kind heart. He sent the mad dog to a pet hospital for cremation, even bought a small urn, collected the mother dog's remains, and buried them under an old pagoda tree in the park. As for the other one, her luck was far worse than this mother dog's. Monica had just given birth to 4 dog-like creatures, and my in-laws immediately felt it was bad luck. They didn't even let her stay in the hospital for a day. They directly processed her discharge and took her back to their old house in the countryside. My mother-in-law is very superstitious, because Zach's older brother had just had a car accident at the beginning of the year and ended up in a vegetative state. And now Monica had given birth to 4 dog-like creatures. My mother-in-law believed Monica was a reincarnated demon, that it was she who had cursed her eldest son, and giving birth to monsters was definitely a warning of some misfortune. If they didn't deal with Monica, My mother-in-law was terrified Monica would bring trouble to her own family. Therefore, Monica's fate was almost identical to mine in my past life. My mother-in-law wanted to dispose of her, but didn't dare to kill her. Coincidentally, they had a litter of sows at home. So my mother-in-law chained Monica up in the pig pen with an iron chain. She gave her no food every day. At first, Monica could only fight with the pigs for their slop. When she was thirsty, there was no water. She could only endure it. But who would have thought? Pigs, these animals that look gentle, are actually extremely aggressive. In just 3 days, Monica was eaten alive by that group of sows. She was gnawed by the pigs until not even bone fragments were left. And before Monica died, she was still shouting Zach's name. Monica died in the pig pen. Zach knew about this. He even approved of his parents' actions. After my rebirth, through several months of investigation, I finally discovered Zach was a complete and utter scumbag. The wicked things he had done in this life weren't just 1 or 2. The women he had harmed weren't just me and Monica. According to my investigation, before Zach married me, he actually had a childhood sweetheart he'd known for over 10 years. That girl's name was Wendy. She was also from the countryside. Both her parents had died. Her circumstances were quite pitiful. Although Wendy and Zach never officially married, they lived together every day, right in my in-laws' small courtyard in the countryside. Later, Shekmetma, because my family was well off, and I was an only child. Zach pursued me intensely. He broke up with Wendy, but Wendy not only disagreed, she also said she was already pregnant. The baby in her belly was already a full 4 months along. After that, Wendy never appeared in this world again. I suspect Wendy was also dealt with by Zach, perhaps in that same pig pen, or perhaps somewhere else. After investigating all this, because I couldn't find enough solid evidence, I didn't dare to act rashly. After all, my daughter in my belly hadn't been born yet. Zach's personality was extreme, and my in-laws were just like him. I was afraid that if I made one wrong move and pushed Zach too far, he was capable of anything. Reborn in this life, I asked for nothing else. I only hoped the child in my belly could be born safely. I only hoped my parents would be safe, and our family could live happily. After Monica died, Zach finally remembered me. He calculated the days. I was about to give birth soon. Zach came to my parents' house every day to see me, coaxing me to go home with him. He also told me to rest well and take care of my pregnancy, and to be sure to give the family a big, healthy grandson. On the surface, I didn't say anything. I just made excuses that I was used to living at my parents' house and would move back after giving birth and finishing my postpartum confinement. I then tentatively asked Zach, "By the way, how is sister-in-law doing now? I heard she was pregnant with quadruplets, but all the babies died at birth. Is sister-in-law okay now? Did she go back to our in-laws' place? Or where did she go?" Zach smiled, his words flawless. "Our sister-in-law gave birth to 4 stillborn babies. Mom and Dad didn't blame her. They were originally planning to bring her home for postpartum recovery, but sister-in-law was in a bad mood, said she wanted to go back to her parents' place for a visit. So Mom gave her $20,000. Sister-in-law has already bought a train ticket and gone back to her parents' home." Hearing this, I nodded lightly. Then I secretly recorded what Zach said with my phone. In the blink of an eye, a few more months passed. I finally gave birth as I wished, to a healthy daughter. During this time, I hadn't been idle either. I hired a private investigator to help me look into Zach's family affairs. Sure enough, while I was still in my postpartum confinement, the private investigator sent me some information. He had already found out that Monica had not returned to her hometown at all, but had mysteriously disappeared. Zach's ex-girlfriend, Wendy, had also been missing for many years, and the investigator had even found relevant evidence that could prove it was Zach and his parents who had conspired to kill Monica. After killing her, they threw her body into the pig pen. I took all the evidence I had collected directly to the court. Not long after investigation by the criminal police, it was finally confirmed that Zach's family had murdered Monica. And years ago, Wendy. Sweetie, I specially got this from the temple. This line seems out of place here, like a copy-paste error from the beginning of the original text. But these two old folks were old. They would surely die in prison. After Zach was sentenced, one day, I received a call from the police. Apparently, Zach had gone mad. He was intensely demanding to see me from inside. When I went to visit him in prison, Zach, through the transparent glass, frantically shouted at me, "How could it be like this? It can't be like this. It wasn't like this in the last life. You finally came back, right? You came back early, didn't you?" It seems Zach was reborn too. But I was very curious. In the last life, Zach and Monica conspired to kill me. But why was he also reborn? At this moment, looking at the crazed Zach on the other side of the transparent glass, I curved my lips into a smile. That's right. I came back early. Zach, in your last life, you killed me. In this life, I am the vengeful ghost. You are finished. I didn't divorce Zach. After all, as a convicted mental patient, I was the sole heir to all his property. 2 months later, Zach's parents were executed, and Zach was transferred to a mental hospital. I bribed the doctors in the mental hospital to help take good care of Zach. After all, I wanted my husband to live a long life. Otherwise, how could it make up for all the suffering I endured in my past life? Besides, the child also needed a father figure, at least in name. Even if that father was a madman, doesn't that just highlight how tough it is for me as a single mother? From then on, Zach lived in the mental hospital for a full 3 years. When he finally died, he was as thin as a skeleton. On the day Zach died, I put on a bright red dress and set off a string of firecrackers at my doorstep. From then on, my parents were always by my side, my child by my side. In this life, I was finally content. The end.